FinTech Feel Good Show. I'm Mehdi, your host. What the FinTech is a news and information platform covering the latest news of FinTech in Asia. We have a focus in Hong Kong, Singapore, China. Join us every Wednesday for an engaging conversation with various Asian tech leaders. And we are discussing here about entrepreneurships, emerging technology, customer engagement, and partnerships. Before we start this interview, feel free to share your question in the comment section and we will come back to you. And also, if you can like and share, it will be great. And today we have one of the most important figure of the Insurer tech in Hong Kong, Alvin Kwock from OneDegree. Hi, Alvin. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks,
Um,
Matthew, for having me on the stage.
it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming because your company is super interesting and you have a lot of news going on from the past, but also in the future. Looking at the LGBTQ insurance, that's what I saw last week when I was doing the newsletter. Could you quickly introduce you, where you are from, what you are doing, and how you start to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, my name is Alvin Kwock. I'm the co-founder of OneDegree. I'm born and raised in Hong Kong, and I went to the States for undergrad and also master degree in University of Chicago. Uh, After I come back from the States, I only have one full-time job. I was with JP Morgan, co-heading the technology research.
Mhm.
Okay, and that was like 11, 12 years.
Okay.
Okay, and then I co-founded OneDegree together with my co-founder Alice Leung. That's really where it
So when did you start the company?
was. 2016,
Okay. So now it's 6 years old, right?
6 years old.
And OneDegree is one of the most exciting company here in Hong Kong. Could you describe what is doing OneDegree quickly? And after this, we will go for the origin story.
Yeah. So we have three business. One is we got a virtual insurer license in Hong Kong. Okay, so globally there's about a dozen of them. Hong Kong there are four of them. Right now we are the one with the largest number of paid users among the four virtual insurers. Number two, we have a B2B business, a SaaS model. That we are licensing our insurance core system technology and also our cybersecurity SaaS to different companies in the region. So we now have office and people teams in Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, China, Vietnam, and London as well.
Oh, this is a big market.
Yeah, and then the third part is we also recently announced on the digital asset insurance. Okay, so we are one of the two globally who are able to do this. And of course, when it comes to digital assets, we are talking about assets across the globe. So this is a global business.
Okay, super. Congrats for this opportunity on the digital assets. It looks very interesting. One of my first questions will be, how did you start the business of OneDegree? What was the turning point for you to really start to initiate that company with your co-founders?
Yeah, so Alice and I co-founded OneDegree back in 2016. So what was preceding to that was in 2015. My mom was in late stage, and I was looking there was like 6 months that I was in and out of the hospital. And what I really found is that insurance, from a technology adoption and from a user experience point of view, I think is so far behind.
Mhm.
Okay, there's a massive gap and a massive misalignment of expectation and reality. Okay, and this is something like when I was in JP Morgan, when I was in the bank, we have gone through on the digitization, on the entire security trading, and remember in the past it's like calling the brokers.
Mhm.
Okay, now it's fully digital. Like
Yes.
99% of the volume is digital. You got some really cool features like high frequency trading. Now, why can't this be something that make it a seamless experience when it comes to insurance and making the insurance claims, and then in terms of the product that they offer and stuff like that? So that was back in 2015. Now, in 2016, we, like Alice and I, basically contacted the regulator and trying to form team. At the time, if you remember back then, like Hong Kong or Asia, Insurtech is still something very, very nascent, in the sense that there's not even a regulatory framework in how this could be regulated, right? In 2017, it ended up that there's all the policies about sandbox, about virtual bank, about fast track for insurance and stuff like that. And we were really, really blessed to be in the formative years and make a contribution on this.
Super interesting. I remember because I was working in Cyberport at that time, and I saw a lot of advertising about your company, the fundraising at the beginning. So maybe you can share with us what was your first product and how you reached the market fit at this moment there.
Yeah, our first product was pet insurance. Okay, and the product market fit is a really really interesting question. So we noticed there is a market demand for this even in early days because in early days even before we launched the product when the uh, when the media have been talking about us, it's interesting. One media report uh, in the next 24 hours, we got hundreds of inquiries in our Facebook inbox asking us, how can
Wow.
I buy this product before we even launch?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. But now, when it comes to launching the product, it is a completely different story.
Okay.
Okay. After we launched the product in 2020, initially, we found that there's a lot of inquiry, there's a lot of people trying to come and buy. But when it comes to the conversion, when it comes to people buying it, there's a lot of people. Like for example, what we notice is that dogs and cats is like 50 and 50 of the traffic, but when it comes to cat owners, they just can't convert.
Why?
One key problem for that is because of the microchip issue.
Okay.
Okay, now dogs are microchips because they need to take rabies,
Mm-hmm.
like the vaccines for rabies, right? But now cats, the only reason why they will take the jab is really for to buy insurance. And
Okay.
why would people want that? Right? So like after multiple iteration of that, and that goes great. I think that's one massive trigger to that. We have 5 iterations in the first 12 months.
Okay. Well,
Okay, and
a lot.
second part that also get it really go viral is once people have the claim experience, they are amazed. Like in 2 days, you basically got the claims. The even most of that is actually paid into the bank account. And I think what people found it really amazing. Usually, it would take you weeks, and in fact, during the COVID time, a lot of the medical insurance claims in the industry took 6 months to 12 months because the staff are working from home, but the medical receipts are coming in and stuff like that. So people, wow, this is something that is amazing, and then the word of mouth really go out, and now it basically just completely go organic.
So at the beginning, it was 100 message on your Facebook mailbox, right? You
Yeah.
said that. Do you remember how many you can convert that time, or how you proceed at the time? It was one by one, on, compared to now, it's totally different, right?
Yeah, well, so what we do is we don't really do active selling.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like a lot of people ask us where can we buy it, and then
Hmm.
we direct them back to the website.
Okay.
We
Okay.
don't want them to feel being pressured to buy anything,
Yeah.
right? And I think, frankly, it also takes time for people in insurance to understand the policy and stuff like that. They can take their time. That's okay. Okay, and so the conversion is completely voluntary,
Okay.
and no intermediary or what, and I think that's how we do it.
After this insurance of pets, what did you do after this? Did you raise money, or did you go for a second product on the market and you find a second market fit at that moment?
Yeah, so it's interesting that after we launch the pet product and after we have a customer base and after they have the claim experience, a lot of them come back to us and say, hey, this experience would be awesome if you can offer that in medical insurance and home insurance and fire insurance, all those things. We actually get a lot of ideas
Hmm.
coming back from our customers.
Yeah. Very good.
And then we really start to build a product portfolio that is aimed for the mass affluent segment,
Okay.
right? So I think it's quite a distorted market that a lot of people really just focus on the ultra high net worth, right?
Yes.
And give
Very
them a
good.
lot of the services or the Chinese tourists and stuff like that because the size of the premium is so big,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But now when it comes to the mass affluent segment, the middle class segment, they have money, okay, but like they actually don't get good servicing.
Hmm.
And in fact, a lot of them they're very educated about the product, and they want to do this by themselves. They don't want to be pressured in buying anything. Okay, and so now after this, then we really go and study each of the product segment on where we can really give differentiation on the product. And I think now we have a good suite of product across all most of the mass affluent needs.
Wow, this is interesting because in Hong Kong, virtual insurance didn't exist like a couple of years ago,
Yes.
and now yeah, there is only 4, if I'm not mistaken, for in virtual insurer. So you're one of them, right?
Yes.
Um, so from those feedbacks you got from your customers, how do you prioritize them to increase your or enhance sorry, to improve your product right now or develop new products? Do you have like a team taking care of this? Is it coming back directly to you and your co-founders, or just do you look at some surveys that you share with them?
Yes, we do. So I think our team is extremely focused and committed in the product market fit and really working on the product proposition and stuff like that. So for each of the product, we have something that is very unique to the market. Like to give you some example, like for when it comes to critical illness, we are probably the first one to make it as unlimited number of claims.
Mhm.
Okay. These days, I think the medical is going like it's very advanced, right? So like and you don't get knocked down one time, right? But like usually after having the first critical illness, most of the insurance company would never pay you again.
Okay.
Okay, so we really want to make it unlimited number of claims for them.
Why this issue exist on the market right now?
I think, well, so we do actually manage to convince the reinsurer to support on this product as well.
Mhm.
So I think this is what we offer. Now, when it comes to mortgage fire insurance, what we find is that the loss ratio is very very low. Okay,
Okay.
most of the insurance premium actually go to commission for the banks.
Is it only in Hong Kong or is it also on other markets? You can see this fact.
Okay, so we have the virtual insurance business in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Okay, so we do develop the B2C on that. When it comes to other market like Southeast Asia, we enable other insurance company to do this.
Okay. So you provide the solution to B2B.
Yes, correct.
Are
Correct.
you also focusing on some markets here in Asia, or are you focusing on markets from like all the country internationally?
Yeah, well, I think the solution can totally go international. But having said that, I think we will first focus on the B2B in Asia. Given that I think that's like the user behavior would look a lot more alike.
Okay, okay. How do you tackle the problem of the different regulation? Because you have regulation in Hong Kong, but it's very different from Taiwan, Singapore, or another country, right?
Yeah.
So how do you can scale with all this issue of regulation? How do you tackle all this problem there?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, in Hong Kong, we are fully regulated. We are licensed by Insurance Authority for the virtual insurance license. When it comes to B2B business, I think we are not regulated from that standpoint
Mhm.
because we are a technology provider. But having said that, from a solution point of view, I think there will be some 10 to 20% customization for particular regulatory requirement for that. But I think for 80-90% of it is actually the same because we are talking about the underwriting engine, we're talking about the claims engine and stuff like that, and those are things that are pretty much a pretty uniform type of technology solution.
Um, what distinguish your company to other insurance on the market, except being just 100% digital?
Yeah, well, I think our DNA is completely different. I think it all starts with people. Okay,
Okay.
I think first of all, like if you look at our first 2025 team members, everything's done. Like there are we hold 7 to 8 different type of passports. Okay,
Okay.
so it's a very international team that really bring the best practice and the best expertise to the team. I think that's number one. And now we scale to 200 people.
Whoa, it's a
Okay,
lot compared to last time I spoke with you.
yeah, and I think this team is really uh, I think this team is again we bring the best talents in each of the different functional expertise to really come and build this together. I think that and I think a good part of that also when I talk about the functional expertise, I think we are not a insurance company trying to build a technology.
Mhm.
We are a technology company trying to make insurance work 10 times better. Okay, so from a people composition standpoint, like out of the 200 people, more than half of them are actually on the digital product side of things,
Okay.
meaning the engineers, the UI UX, and then the cybersecurity engineer. I think even on the cybersecurity side, we got more than 10 people in the team. So we are super focused to get those functional expertise work really well.
Is your team only in Hong Kong or do you have teammates overseas as well?
Yeah, we have teammates overseas.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
Do you have like different offices except Hong Kong? Do you have an office in Singapore or
Yeah,
Taiwan, for example?
we do. We do. So Hong Kong now we got close to 70 people.
Okay.
Okay, and globally we got about 200 people.
Mhm.
So I think Hong Kong is the headquarter, is the base, but we do have a very diversified team.
I'm excited to have you today because last week I saw that you rolled out LGBTQ insurance. Could you share a bit more with us? What was the last product you went on the market with, and why did you start this one?
Yeah, so what we see, the pain points out there is that the definition of the and the legal rights of the LGBTQ is really really behind. Okay, and well, I won't even say it's not equal. The inequality is that there's also ignorance. Is even I would call it as some discrimination. Okay, and now when we like our team is has been a major proponent. Well, we are really supportive of the LGBTQ folks. In fact, I think early this year we got a team member who proposed to his boyfriend,
Okay, congrats for him.
and we are so happy. Like the team is like, wow, this is like building a family and
Mhm.
and so on. Well, so and and that gets us to think, what is a family? Okay, and and we say, why don't we just use the most raw, the most genuine, the most unscripted way to go and understand what a family is. So we go and do user research, and we go and invite a number of pairs of couples to come in, both the straight couples and both the LGBTQ
Mhm.
couples to come in. And the definition of family is actually uniform. It's actually the same. Okay. Then now, why when it comes to the legal contract, when it comes to the definition of home, when it comes to the coverage of a home insurance, that people like would only recognize the married couple. But now in a lot of them places, including Hong Kong, like the marriage is still like the legislation, the regulation is still not there. So we really found this something that is so much behind the curve, and we want to take a step and really be embracing this and adopting this.
You spoke about a lot about feedback from your customers, and now doing this kind of research with the different kind of couples, straight and gay and lesbian. Um, could you explain to us how you proceed this kind of research you are doing? There is a method you are using. Is it like interviews, and you invite those people to come to your company and do some interviews with them, or do you do like some I don't know panel test or few other
Yeah,
methods?
we spend a lot of time on user research.
Okay.
I think, and this is something that is quite different from what other companies will be doing. So we do iteration and iterations of user research, and we basically invite like for different type of cohorts. Okay,
Mhm.
we usually would invite 5 to 10 of them. Okay, to come in for a 2 hours of group discussion and kind
Okay.
of a focus group.
Sorry, I will just move this a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Kind of like a focus group type of setting. And I think in the like we pretty much almost engage them in a product co-creation process and understand their needs.
This is
Okay.
very interesting because there is not a lot of company doing this in Hong Kong.
Yeah, we do a lot of that. We even create different version of product
Mhm.
and see what are things that will really addressing the needs, echo the needs. And sometimes they come, well, in many of the times they also come with something that we have never thought about,
Okay.
and we basically put it in it. And of course, now 5 to 10 per cohort, it may not be necessarily be enough.
Mhm.
Okay, so now when it comes to the product launch, we do need to do a lot of product iteration as well, and see if this is something that really address the user need. Which is why I say, like, for example, for pet insurance in the first year, we got 5 different iteration of the product. Okay, and that really get the customers to echo on the product, and the conversion and all the different things to really thrive.
A lot of my friends are using your pet insurance. I think they are really happy with it, and it address for them some of the issues. So it's interesting how you tackle those problem on the market and you find the solutions. We spoke about virtual insurance in Hong Kong. We spoke about your customer base as well. Mass affluent, you mentioned it. We spoke also about the pet insurance. Do you have other products that you are doing as well, and they're tackling some of the big problem, big issue for B2B, for example, right now?
Yeah, I think for B2B, I think the move towards digitization is something very, very clear. Okay, especially after the COVID situation. Now, as I mentioned, one very clear, or two clear pinpoints of that. One is uh, like the product. A lot of them are outdated. Okay, and how do you roll out the product quickly and test the market and really make it relevant, right? So I think that that's one clear pinpoint. The second clear pinpoint is the claim process, right? So we are enabling the different B2B guys to come in and do that. And what we do it is on a very modular basis, on a no code approach
Mhm.
that really help them to do the product iteration very quickly. So usually for a insurance company to iterate on a product, it take them 6 to 9 months.
Okay.
And for us, usually is a matter of days.
Wow, this is a big difference.
Yeah. So I think that's something that we have proven that in a virtual insurer, we have proven that this is the best practice. This is something that can massively improve the conversion rate. Okay. And but of course we don't do marketing. We won't have license everywhere in different
Mhm.
places. And I think we want to help as many people as possible, as many users as possible. And we found that the model to do it by empowering the other insurance company, I think, will be the great deed.
What is the most exciting product that you have or you are working on right now?
Well, I think there's one product that we have been working on is on cyber risk.
Okay,
Okay, so we
interesting.
have been working on cyber risk for almost 3 years.
Mhm.
Okay, in fact, this is a product that almost co-create and co-develop with even the regulators.
Okay, super
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So and you know and so we have cyber solutions for enterprises, for FMCG companies, for banks, for for insurance company, for health tech companies, and all that. Now, in the last 2 years, one area that we also see a major pain point is the crypto industry, the digital asset industry,
Oh, yes, please
right?
speak about it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of hack cases going on. Okay, and this is something that really is, I think, is going to pose major trust issue. Okay, when it comes to the institutional guys to come in or the mass adoption of it. Now, when you look at banks, there's deposit protection scheme, right? And like in early days, like people may not be so comfortable in putting all the money, the deposit in the banks. They might put it under your bed or something like that, right?
Mm.
And this is actually the same concept. Okay, how do you build trust with them? Right, and also, like, for the regulators, they also want to make sure that you have the right cyber security practice in place. So I think this is where we step in, and we launched the product in April, and it's extremely well received by the market, by the regulators, and all the stakeholders.
I remember the news on the website and the newspaper as well. It was a big announcement.
Yeah,
Um, Quick question about also. I remember last year you did a fundraising.
yeah.
It was the second one that you did, right? Because you did also a couple
we
of years
we
ago.
actually did 4 rounds of institutional fundraising so far.
What did you learn during this process? Was the process smooth enough for you, or it was a process where you learned a lot and you had also to pivot a bit your business model?
Yeah, well, so I came from I was quite blessed. I came from a investment banking training, so I was with JP Morgan for more than 11 years. Okay, and one thing that I learned about, if there's one thing that I learned about it, is to like think from the other person's side.
Hmm.
How do you mitigate risk, and how do you deliver on promise? Okay, and I think this is something that I really learned about it. And so I think in the different phases, some people ask us, who how, like, we even raise money before we get a license, before we have business. But I think what we have really demonstrated to them is that we have like built so much deep down into the technology part of it, and really build a pipeline on customers and so on and so forth. And yeah, February, August last year, we had the fourth round of institutional fundraising.
Congratulations. I have a quick question also about your company. You mentioned you have like 7 different nationalities, 200 people, more than 200 people in Hong Kong and overseas. How do you recruit? What is the key component for you to take one candidate and bring it to your company? What is the difference for them compared to the other applicant?
Yeah, I think in early days and these days is a little bit different. I think early days is really pulling the teeth,
Mhm.
right? So, and I think, but these days, I think last year there are like thousands of people who come and apply and want to work with us. And in fact, every week I probably got like a few dozen people who direct inbox me.
This is a lot.
Yeah, and what I actually do is that every week I will be talking to about 10 guys.
Okay.
Okay, like even if it's like just inboxing and well, I actually really appreciate that they're being proactive and have the great right. I would usually schedule a 20-minute, 15-20 minute chat
Mhm.
with them.
Okay, this is
Okay,
interesting. You spend a lot of time on this.
I do because people is the most important part, right? And then like for most of them, it's a quick introductory on both sides, and well, many of the times it also depends on the timing if there's a fit on both sides, right? But usually, like every week or two, there's one person that turned out to be a much deeper conversation. That
Okay.
then I would invite them to meet the team and different things and figure out if there's a good fit.
What is the culture of your company and how do you promote it internally? Because you mentioned about like taking care of people and speaking with other people. So I'm sure you have a culture that you want to promote inside OneDegree. So how
Yes,
do you do it?
absolutely. Well, we are growing very fast. Okay, and it is important for the team to outgrow the company, right? And when the team is growing very fast, we are very meritocracy based.
Mhm.
Okay, so I think in the last couple of well, in the past year, for example, we have promoted a few, like I think three folks that I think are under 30 to head level.
Okay, interesting. This is a good opportunity for them to grow as a leader inside
Yeah,
the company, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and we have a very flat culture as well. Okay, so pretty much like everyone sit on the same floor, and well, I shouldn't say that because well, we have to expand, and we now have two floors in Hong Kong, and then we have two floors in Taiwan, and so on. But basically, everyone is sitting together, and I really believe in the distance of people really dictate the frequency of communication.
Okay.
So I don't want to, well, like, even building up to 200 people now, we want to minimize the distance among the people.
This is interesting because you mean like if the people are working super close, like we are close together like today, we will speak more and collaborate more together than if you have like 2 meters between you and me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, well, back in early days, Maddie, yeah, I think one interesting thing to share is we even have a few team members who live together,
Okay, okay.
or in fact live at my sister's place. Okay, so there was partly from a, like, bring down the cost, the living cost for the team members at the time. We haven't got the funding yet and stuff like that. But also, what I found it very valuable is that every day you take the subway, the MTR to work, and you start to bounce ideas. At the end of the day, you recap on on some of the challenges and stuff like that.
This is really cool story. I never
Yeah,
hear a story like this one,
yeah,
like having people living here together, especially in Hong Kong because we have all the stories in
exactly.
Silicon Valley, but not here.
Yeah.
So okay, very interesting. Living all together to work on a project. So it was 24 hours, 1 degree.
Yeah, well, I think these days, like, we have a lot of capable people, so I think, most of the stuff I actually, well, I'm a strong proponent of delegation. But having said that, of course, the mind keep thinking about all the, like, some of them are longer term issues.
Mhm.
How can we be a few steps ahead of the curve and stuff like that? And yeah, but yeah, the mind is always working.
I have a question for you. You are one of the co-founder and you're running your company. What is the best thing about driving and running your company right now?
What is the bad thing?
Best thing to run your company. The best thing.
Best thing?
Yeah, yeah.
I think what I love to see is an idea from a conceptual stage, from a time that and basically to build it and make it thrive. I think that's something that I really and seeing the customer smile
Mhm.
about it. right? I think that's something that I really, really love to see. The second thing that is really satisfying is to see the team grow, right? And yeah, I think those are something those are just amazing. And also another part that I want to bring out, like when I say sometime in the morning, like we take the subway together to work, and I say, hey, I have an idea, da da da, and what do you think? And at times, like the team would say, hey, I can there's problem one two three. Okay. And then overnight, like wake up in the morning and tell me, hey, Alvin, I see where you're coming from, but I have a counter proposal.
Okay.
Okay. And that counter proposal is 10 times better than
Yeah.
what I have originally in mind. And that's something that's, wow, that's so satisfying, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is team spirit and working together.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, it's through passing ideas back and forth and uh, no ego,
Yeah.
right? And really, really focusing on what what turned out to be the best solution for our customers and so on. And I think that's super satisfying.
What are the different challenges and obstacles you got when you collaborate with large company like banks or large insurance?
Yeah, well, I think is like in any business, I think the three key elements. Okay, there's have the people, have the
Hmm.
capital, and have the customers and business, right? So, and I think at different stages, the challenges would be different, and I would almost call it as a flywheel, right? And the flywheel that means it go from one to another, but it cannot stop, right? So, like the challenges are different at different point of time, and I think in early days, for example, when nobody know who we are and when we are building, like how do you convince people to join you,
Hmm.
right? As you remember, like at the time when we are trying to interview and meeting the actuaries, like we meet more than 50 people, right? And really, each of them is like convincing them about the vision and stuff like that. And then the capital, right?
Of course.
Like we raised 25 million before we have the first single dollar of revenue.
Mhm.
Okay, then it's not an easy challenge,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And then later on is how to win the hearts of the customers, right? And then this goes on.
Interesting. You mentioned you're collaborating with a lot of companies right now, like big insurance or some of the banks.
Yeah.
What is the key, I want to say, features that you got who makes a difference compared to your competitors, and why these companies are working with you right now? Do you solve some of their problems, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think the like when we look at the among the different virtual insurers in Hong Kong, for example, our conversion rate is at least is many times, and I'm talking about not 10%, but more than 10 times type of difference versus the others. And there is a reason behind it. Is the technology stack, is the approach, and stuff like that. And so uh, and this is something that like when you want just to have the upper funnel, like the audience and stuff like that to come in, this is something that is easy. You can pay for it,
Yeah,
right? But when it comes to the conversion rate, okay, that is something that is the most difficult, right?
definitely.
And that is something that I think a lot of our partners, particularly on the B2B side, they found it extremely intriguing.
Thank you very much for all your questions. I think all your answers. I think we are close to the end of this podcast. I have a couple of questions for you. Maybe you can answer to our people listening or watching this video. Do you have any recommendation in terms of books or podcast or video to learn more about entrepreneurship and insurtech?
Yeah, well, every morning, well, not every morning, every night before I go to bed, I go and check out what the Liverpool coach club has
Yes,
to say.
I'm from
Okay.
Manchester United to be honest, so but I understand club. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think managing a top soccer teams is like managing a venture, right? So you have to manage the egos of the stars, right? Sometimes things go bad. How are you going to turn around the situation, and how are you going to address the different problems in the tactics and information injuries and all those things, and motivate people, and and when you win, you don't like get people overly carried away, and
Mhm.
really focus back and at the core of the stuff. And I think that is something that is fascinating, and I've been following Club at least for 5 years, every single night.
Klopp is a strong character, persona. I really like him and Guardiola, two of the best coaches in the world right now, and I really like their philosophy of game and also how they manage their teams. Very interesting. What's next for you?
What's next for us? I think when it comes to financial industries in Hong Kong companies or Asian companies, initially you always start with your local base,
Mhm.
right? And uh, the next thing is definitely to go international,
Yes,
right? And I
absolutely.
think when it comes to fintech, and particularly when it comes to blockchain, I think this is completely a global market, and I think our team is ready for it,
Mhm.
and this is something that definitely is on our mind, and well, how do we bring the awesome technology built out of Asia and Hong Kong to go international?
Where people can learn more about you? Do you have some articles on the web? Do you have like any blogs you are writing yourself?
Yeah, I sometimes will be writing on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Okay, so feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, and then you can check out www.onedegree.hk, and that's where you can find all the information of our products and stuff like that on it.
Okay, super. Thank you very much for this interview. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
It was really great to have you, and thank you for sharing all your knowledge with us. It was What the FinTech. Thank you very much for listening or watching this video. I will see you next week with another Asia Tech figures. Take care and see you soon. Bye bye.
bye bye.